How to handle difficult people with wisdom and composure. Picture this: you're in a room full of people. Someone storms in, their voice sharp and cutting, tearing through the harmony like a blade. Maybe it's a colleague who thrives on conflict, or a relative who never fails to test your patience. You feel it building inside you, the irritation, the anger, the overwhelming urge to retaliate or retreat. But here's the kicker. What if I told you that the way you respond in that moment determines not only the outcome of the interaction but also the quality of your life? Let me ask you a question. When was the last time someone got under your skin? How did you respond? And this is the crucial part. Did that response make you stronger, wiser, or more composed? In this video, we're diving deep into the art of handling difficult people with wisdom and composure. But this isn't your average self-help spiel. We're weaving together ancient Stoic wisdom, modern psychology, and relatable, real-world scenarios. Together, we'll uncover strategies so profound and practical that by the end of this, you might find yourself thanking the very people who challenge you the most. Here's the hook. What if every difficult person in your life was actually your greatest teacher? The battlefield of the mind. I want you to imagine Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, seated on the battlefield not of war, but of his mind. Chaos surrounds him. Advisors yell conflicting opinions, and his enemies are relentless. Yet, he writes calmly in his journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Think about that for a second. The battlefield isn't the people who challenge us. It's the reaction they provoke within us. The first rule of wisdom is understanding the dichotomy of control, what you can and can't control. Here's a scenario: you're at work, and a coworker rudely dismisses your idea in front of the team. Your instinct might scream to fight back, to defend your honor. But pause. What is within your control? Is it their words, their tone, their behavior? No. What is within your control is your response. In moments like these, we often forget a simple truth. Difficult people are not obstacles. They are mirrors, reflecting our unexamined frustrations, fears, and insecurities. The first tool, radical empathy. You're in traffic. Someone cuts you off aggressively, and you feel the heat rising in your chest. What do? Most people curse, honk, or stew in anger. But here's a twist. What if, instead of reacting, you paused and asked, "What's driving this person?" Epictetus reminds us, we are not disturbed by things, but by the views we take of them. Could it be that the driver was rushing to the hospital? That your coworker who dismissed your idea is battling insecurity? Empathy is not about excusing bad behavior. It's about freeing yourself from unnecessary emotional baggage. When you shift from judgment to curiosity, you reclaim your power. Empathy doesn't mean being a doormat, it means seeing the bigger picture. And from there, choosing your response with clarity. A question to challenge you. When someone challenges you, do you see them as an adversary or as an opportunity to master your emotions? The second tool, the art of detachment. There's a story about a monk who faced a relentless heckler during his teachings. Day after day, the heckler mocked him, but the monk remained serene. One day, a student asked how he could endure the abuse. The monk smiled and said, "If someone offers you a gift, and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" This is the essence of detachment. When someone hurls negativity at you, you have a choice. Will you accept their gift of anger, or will you let it remain theirs? The key to detachment is perspective. Marcus Aurelius would often remind himself, "Soon you will have forgotten all things, and all things will have forgotten you." It's not about apathy. It's about recognizing the transient nature of all things, including the difficult people in your life. The third tool, strategic patience. Seneca, another great Stoic, wrote, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay. When you're provoked, your first reaction is rarely your best." Strategic patience is about creating space between stimulus and response. Here's a technique. When someone frustrates you, take a slow, deep breath and count to 10. not as a cliché, but as a deliberate act of reclaiming your composure. Use that time to remind yourself, this person's behavior is not about me. My reaction, however, is entirely within my control. Building composure through reflection. Let's pause here. I want you to reflect on this question. When was the last time you let someone else's behavior dictate your emotions? And what might have changed if you had responded with wisdom instead of impulse? In the next part, we'll explore how to build unshakable inner peace. Even in the face of the most challenging individuals, we'll reveal advanced techniques to transform conflict into connection and resistance into resilience. Turning conflict into connection, the secret to transforming resistance into resilience. When we encounter difficult people, our natural inclination is often to shield ourselves, to fight back, or to walk away. But what if I told you there's another way? A way to turn every confrontation into an opportunity, not just to protect your peace, but to elevate it. Let's delve into the alchemy of turning conflict into connection. How can we use wisdom to transform resistance into resilience? Even when it feels impossible, the energy you bring. Pause for a moment and think about the energy you bring into any interaction. Imagine you're carrying a lit candle. When someone comes toward you with a raging flame, how do you respond? Do you add more fire, escalating the blaze? Or do you maintain the calm, steady light of your candle? You see, emotions are contagious. If you mirror someone's anger, frustration, or negativity, you're not just reacting, you're perpetuating. But when you bring calm, measured energy into a storm, you become the eye of that storm. Here's the paradox. Difficult people often seek control over others. When you remain composed, you deny them that power. You become untouchable. The power of reframing. Reframing is a mental judo move. It's about flipping the narrative in your mind to turn obstacles into opportunities. Let's say someone criticizes you unfairly. Instead of seeing it as an attack, reframe it. What can I learn from this? How can I grow? The Stoics practiced this relentlessly. Epictetus taught, difficulties show a person's character. Therefore, when trouble comes, think of yourself as a wrestler who has been prepared to handle challenges. This is your opportunity. Imagine every encounter with a difficult person as a training ground, a chance to hone your patience, empathy, and self-mastery. By reframing, you shift from being a victim of circumstance to a master of your destiny. A question to challenge you. When was the last time you faced a challenging person and asked yourself, what is this teaching me? Building emotional fortitude. Now, let's talk about emotional fortitude, the ability to remain unshaken, even when provoked. Think of it like building a fortress within yourself. Step 1, self-awareness. Understand your triggers. Are you quick to anger when someone interrupts you? Do you feel defensive when your ideas are questioned? The more you know about your own vulnerabilities, the less others can exploit them. Step 2, emotional regulation. Picture this. Someone is yelling at you, their words filled with venom. Instead of reacting, you take a deep breath and silently repeat a mantra. This is not about me. I choose peace. You might not stop their tirade, but you've already won because you've refused to let their storm enter your fortress. Empathy as a superpower. We often think of empathy as a way to connect with those we love. But here's the twist. Empathy is even more powerful when extended to difficult people. Let's revisit that coworker who dismissed your idea. Instead of stewing in resentment, you approach them later and say, I noticed you didn't seem to agree with my suggestion earlier. I'd like to understand your perspective better. What happens next is often surprising. By showing genuine curiosity instead of hostility, you disarm them. You've taken the higher road not out of weakness, but out of strength. Empathy doesn't mean condoning bad behavior. It means refusing to let others' negativity dictate your emotions. The gift of silence. Sometimes, the wisest response is no response at all. In the heat of a confrontation, silence can be a powerful tool. When someone lashes out, your silence speaks volumes. It says, I'm not engaging with this energy. But silence is more than just absence. It's presence. When you remain silent, you create space for reflection. You allow the other person to hear their own words, often leading them to reconsider. Marcus Aurelius captured this beautifully. It is better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt. The art of setting boundaries. Wisdom doesn't mean tolerating endless abuse. Sometimes, the most composed response is to walk away. But walking away isn't a retreat, it's a boundary. Here's an exercise. The next time someone's behavior becomes toxic, calmly state your boundary. For example, I value our relationship, but I won't continue this conversation if it's not respectful. Then follow through. Boundaries are not walls, they're gates. They allow you to protect your peace while leaving the door open for healthier interactions. A question to challenge you: do you confuse setting boundaries with being unkind? How can you create space for both kindness and firmness in your relationships? Turning resistance into resilience. Resilience isn't about avoiding difficult people. It's about thriving because of them. Imagine you're a tree in a storm. The winds bend you, but they also make your roots dig deeper. Every challenge strengthens you, prepares you for the next storm. Here's a visualization. Close your eyes and picture the most challenging person in your life. See them as a teacher. What lesson are they offering you? Patience? Forgiveness? Detachment? When you shift your perspective, you reclaim your power, building inner peace through gratitude. This might sound counterintuitive, but gratitude is one of the most powerful ways to handle difficult people. Think about it. Every challenging interaction teaches you something about yourself, your triggers, your strengths, your capacity for growth. Start a gratitude practice. At the end of each day, write down one thing you've learned from someone who tested your patience. Over time, you'll begin to see difficult people not as obstacles, but as opportunities. A question to challenge you: can you find gratitude for the person who challenges you the most? What would change if you did? In the final part, we'll uncover the ultimate Stoic strategies for mastering interactions with difficult people. We'll explore how to find freedom in every challenge and transform even the most negative encounters into opportunities for growth. Freedom from within, the ultimate strategies for mastering difficult interactions. As we journey deeper into the art of handling difficult people with wisdom and composure, let's remember one essential truth. Freedom is not about changing others. It's about mastering yourself. In this final part, we'll explore how to transcend negativity and turn even the harshest interactions into profound moments of personal liberation. The inner compass. Imagine this: you're walking through a forest with no map, only a compass. The path is winding, the terrain uneven, but the compass always points north. Your inner compass, your values and principles, serves the same purpose. It guides you when interactions become turbulent, reminding you who you are and what you stand for. Here's a practical exercise. Define your north. What are your core values? Integrity? Patience? Kindness? The next time someone tests you, use these values as your guide. Instead of reacting to their behavior, act in alignment with who you aspire to be. Seneca reminds us, what is the good of having principles if you do not stand by them in times of difficulty? Freedom in acceptance. One of the hardest lessons in life is this: you cannot change people who do not want to change. This is where acceptance becomes your greatest ally. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It means recognizing reality without resistance. When you accept someone as they are, you free yourself from the burden of trying to control them. Think about it. How much energy have you wasted trying to fix difficult people? What if you redirected that energy toward becoming unshakable yourself? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Love the hand that fate deals you and play it as your own." What if you could extend that love to the people who challenge you? The practice of emotional Aikido. Aikido is a martial art that uses an opponent's energy against them. Emotionally, the same principle applies. When someone comes at you with negativity, don't meet it head-on. Instead, redirect it. Here's how: when someone insults you, respond with curiosity instead of anger. For example, "I see you feel strongly about this. Can you share more about what's bothering you?" This approach disarms the aggressor, turning a potential fight into a conversation. Emotional Aikido requires practice, but its power lies in its simplicity. By refusing to mirror negativity, you maintain control, and often, you inspire others to do the same. A question to challenge you: when someone attacks you verbally, do you instinctively defend, or could you choose to disarm instead? What might happen if you did? The wisdom of letting go. There's a Zen proverb that says, "Let go or be dragged." Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. When you let go, you're not letting the other person off the hook. You're releasing yourself from their grip. Imagine this: you're carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. Each stone represents a grudge, a frustration, a negative interaction. Now, imagine putting that backpack down. How does it feel? Lighter? Freer? This is the power of letting go. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or condoning. It means choosing peace over pain. It's a gift you give yourself. The strength in vulnerability. We often associate strength with stoicism in the sense of being emotionless. But true Stoic wisdom teaches us that vulnerability is not a weakness. It's a sign of strength. To be vulnerable is to be open, authentic, and courageous. The next time you're in conflict, try this. Instead of posturing or defending, express your feelings honestly. For example, "When you dismissed my idea, it hurt because I value your opinion." Vulnerability humanizes you, often softening the other person's stance. Even if it doesn't, you've spoken your truth, and that's empowering. Brené Brown puts it beautifully: vulnerability is the birthplace of connection and the path to courage. The power of the pause. In the heat of the moment, our reactions can betray us. That's why one of the most profound tools for handling difficult people is the power of the pause. When someone provokes you, pause, count to 10, breathe. In that space, you reclaim your power. The pause is where transformation happens. It's where you shift from reaction to response, from emotion to intention. Try this the next time someone challenges you. Pause and silently ask yourself, "What would the best version of me do in this moment?" Then act accordingly. A question to challenge you: can you make space between stimulus and response? What would change in your relationships if you mastered the pause? Freedom through perspective. Imagine you're standing on a mountaintop, looking down at a bustling city below. From that height, everything seems small: cars, buildings, even people. This is the perspective the Stoics encourage us to adopt. From the vastness of time and space, even our most challenging interactions shrink in significance. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself of this. Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly. When you see each moment as fleeting, each interaction as impermanent, difficult people lose their power over you. Here's a technique. The next time someone frustrates you, imagine how you'll feel about the interaction a year from now. Will it still matter? Probably not. Perspective is liberating. The ultimate freedom. Ultimately, the greatest freedom is not freedom from difficult people. It's freedom from being controlled by them. When you master your mind, your emotions, and your reactions, you become untouchable. Here's the final challenge. Reflect on the most difficult person in your life. Imagine they'll never change. What would it take for you to find peace despite their behavior? The answer lies not in them, but in you. Remember, as Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Difficult people can't rob you of your peace unless you let them. As this video draws to a close, let me leave you with one final thought. Every challenging person you encounter is an opportunity, a chance to practice patience, empathy, and resilience. The question is, will you see them as an enemy or as a teacher? Thank you for journeying with me through this exploration of wisdom and composure. If this resonates with you, take these lessons into your life, apply them, And remember, the ultimate freedom lies within.